Have you ever found yourself wishing for just a little more peace in your day? Maybe it's the neighbor who drops by unannounced, or the family member who calls at the worst possible moment, or even those pesky salespeople who seem to know exactly when you're trying to enjoy a quiet afternoon. As we age, it can feel like the world gets a little louder, a little more demanding, and sometimes it's just exhausting. You deserve to enjoy your time, to savor the moments that matter most to you, without constantly being pulled in a dozen different directions. That's why today, I'm so excited to share 8 practical ways you can protect your peace as an older adult. These are simple, actionable steps that can help you create a calm, fulfilling life that's all about you and what brings you joy. Let's start by talking about why this matters. As we get older, our time becomes even more precious. We've spent years raising families, building careers, and taking care of others. And now, it's time to focus on ourselves. Protecting your peace isn't about shutting people out or being selfish. It's about setting boundaries that let you live with intention so you can spend your energy on the things and people that truly light you up. Whether it's enjoying a quiet morning with your coffee, diving into a favorite hobby, or just having a moment to breathe, these 8 strategies will help you carve out that space. And the best part? They're designed with you in mind. Easy to put into practice, no matter your lifestyle or circumstances. So, let's dive into the first way to protect your peace. Learning to say no with confidence. I know, saying no can feel uncomfortable, especially if you've spent a lifetime putting others first. Maybe you're worried about hurting someone's feelings or seeming rude. But here's the thing. Saying no isn't about being unkind. It's about being kind to yourself. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't serve you, you're saying no to your own peace. Think about it. If your neighbor asks you to join a committee that you know will stress you out, or a friend wants you to spend hours on the phone when you'd rather be reading or gardening, saying no gives you back that time and energy. Here's how you can start. Practice a simple, polite phrase like, "Thank you so much for asking, but I'm not able to do that right now." You don't need to explain why or make excuses. Just keep it short and kind. Let me share a quick story. My friend Margaret, who's 72, used to say yes to every family gathering, even when it meant driving hours across town when she was already tired. She felt obligated, like she'd let people down if she didn't show up. But one day, she decided to try saying no. She told her cousin, "I'd love to see you, but I'm going to sit this one out and rest." To her surprise, her cousin was completely understanding, and Margaret spent that afternoon painting, something she hadn't done in months. That small act of saying no gave her a whole day of joy. Start small. Try saying no to one thing this week that doesn't feel right for you. You'll be amazed at how freeing it feels. Now let's move on to the second way to protect your peace. Creating a sanctuary in your home. Your home is your haven, the one place where you should feel completely at ease. But sometimes, it can start to feel like Grand Central Station. People coming and going, clutter piling up, or even just the noise of the TV or phone notifications. To protect your peace, carve out a space that's just for you. It doesn't have to be a whole room. Maybe it's a cozy chair by a window, a corner of your living room with a favorite lamp, or even a spot on your porch with a comfy cushion. Make it a place where you feel calm and happy. Here's a simple way to do it. Pick a spot and add a few things that bring you comfort. A soft blanket, a favorite book, maybe a plant or a candle. Then set a rule. This is your quiet zone. No interruptions, no phones, just you and your thoughts. My friend Tom, who's 68, turned a small table in his bedroom into his peace corner. He keeps a journal there, a cup for his tea, and a little radio for soft music. When he's in that spot, his wife knows it's his time to unwind, and she respects it. Even 20 minutes a day in your sanctuary can recharge you and remind you that your peace matters. If clutter is an issue, don't worry about tackling the whole house. Just focus on keeping your special spot tidy and inviting. Let's talk about one more way to protect your peace today. managing your time like it's gold. As we age, it's easy to let our days slip away with errands, chores, or obligations that don't really matter to us. But your time is yours, and you get to decide how to spend it. One of the best ways to do this is to prioritize what makes you happy and let go of what doesn't. Start by noticing how you spend your day. Are you running errands for others when you'd rather be taking a walk? Are you spending hours on things that could wait? Try this. Each morning, pick one or two things that are just for you. Maybe it's reading a chapter of a book, calling a friend who lifts your spirits, or taking a slow stroll in the park. Here's a practical tip. Use a simple calendar or notebook to jot down your must-dos and your want-to-dos. Keep the must-dos short, maybe paying a bill or picking up a prescription, and make sure there's room for your want-to-dos, like watching a favorite show or working on a puzzle. My neighbor Ellen, who's 75, started doing this, and she told me it was a game changer. She used to spend her mornings answering emails or helping her kids with small tasks, but now she blocks off an hour every morning for her crossword puzzle and coffee. She says it sets the tone for her whole day, and she feels less frazzled. You don't need a fancy planner, just a piece of paper and a pen will do. Protect your time like it's a treasure, because it is. These first three strategies, saying no with confidence, creating a sanctuary in your home, and managing your time, are all about taking control of your space and your day. They're small steps, but they add up to a big difference in how calm and centered you feel. In the next part, we'll dive into some more ways to keep the world's noise at bay, like setting boundaries with technology and handling tricky conversations with grace. For now, try picking one of these ideas to start with this week, maybe saying no to one thing or setting up your own little sanctuary. You've earned the right to a peaceful, joyful life, and I'm so excited to keep this conversation going with you. Now that you've got a foundation for protecting your peace with saying no, creating a sanctuary, and managing your time, let's keep building on that momentum. Life has a way of sneaking in distractions, doesn't it? Sometimes it's not just people or tasks pulling at you, it's the constant ping of a phone or those tricky conversations that leave you feeling drained. Let's talk about 3 more ways to safeguard your calm and keep your days feeling like they're truly yours. The 4th way to protect your peace is taming technology. I know smartphones and computers can be a lifeline, keeping you connected to family, helping you look up a recipe, or letting you watch a favorite show. But they can also be a thief, stealing your attention with endless notifications, emails, or news alerts that make you feel overwhelmed. If your phone is buzzing every 5 minutes, it's hard to relax, right? The good news is you don't have to ditch technology altogether. Just take control of it. Start by setting some simple boundaries. For example, try turning off notifications for apps that aren't essential. If you're not sure how, ask a family member or friend to show you. It's usually just a quick tap in your phone's settings. Here's something that worked for my friend Susan, who's 70. She used to check her email every time her phone dinged, and it always seemed to be something urgent. A sale, a news headline, or a group chat that went on forever. She decided to silence her notifications and only check her email once a day, in the late morning after her coffee. That one change gave her hours of uninterrupted time to enjoy her knitting or just sit quietly with her thoughts. You can do the same with social media or news apps. Pick a specific time to check them, maybe 15 minutes in the evening, and then put the phone away. If you want to go a step further, try leaving your phone in another room for an hour or 2. It's like giving yourself permission to just be, without the world clamoring for your attention. Let's move on to the 5th way to protect your peace, setting clear boundaries with people you love. This one can feel tricky because we care so much about our family and friends, and we don't want to push them away. But sometimes, even the people closest to us can unintentionally disrupt our calm. Maybe a child who calls too often with small problems, or a friend who visits without warning and stays for hours. Setting boundaries doesn't mean you love them any less. It means you're clear about what you need to feel your best. The key is to communicate kindly but firmly. Here's a simple way to start. If someone tends to drop by unannounced, you might say, "I love seeing you, but I'm finding I need a little more quiet time these days. Could we plan a visit for next week?" Or if a family member calls at inconvenient times, you could try, "I'm so glad to hear from you, but mornings work better for me to chat. Can I call you back then?" My friend Robert, who's 66, had a neighbor who stopped by almost daily to talk, which was exhausting his energy. He finally said, "I really enjoy our chats, but I'm keeping afternoons for my projects. How about we catch up over coffee on Saturdays?" His neighbor was fine with it, and Robert got his afternoons back for his woodworking. It's all about being honest in a way that feels respectful to both of you. Try practicing one boundary this week with someone in your life. It doesn't have to be a big one, just something that gives you a bit more breathing room. Now, let's talk about the sixth way to protect your peace, embracing the power of routine. I know the word routine might sound boring, but hear me out. It's like a secret weapon for calm. When you have a loose structure to your day, it's easier to say no to distractions and carve out time for what matters. A routine doesn't mean scheduling every minute. It's about creating a rhythm that feels good. Maybe it's starting your morning with a cup of tea and a few stretches, or setting aside an hour in the afternoon for a hobby. Having those anchors in your day can make it easier to spot when something or someone is pulling you off track. Here's how you can build a simple routine. Think about one or two things you love doing each day, like reading, walking, or even watching a favorite show. Then, try to do them at roughly the same time each day. My friend Clara, who's 73, started a morning routine where she spends 15 minutes watering her plants and listening to classical music before doing anything else. She says it's like a signal to her brain that the day is starting on her terms. If unexpected plans pop up, she gently pushes them to later in the day so her mornings stay sacred. You can start small, maybe pick one part of your day, like the morning or evening, and decide what feels like you time. Write it down if it helps, or just let it become a habit. A routine is like a cozy blanket. It wraps your day in predictability, which can make everything else feel less chaotic. These three strategies, taming technology, setting boundaries with loved ones, and embracing routine, are all about creating a life where you're in the driver's seat. They help you keep the noise of the world at bay so you can focus on what makes you feel calm and happy. We've got 2 more ways to explore, including how to handle those moments when stress creeps in anyway, and a simple trick to stay centered no matter what's going on around you. For now, think about one small step you can take today. Maybe silencing one notification or setting a kind boundary with someone. You're doing this for you, and you deserve every moment of peace you create. We've been talking about some really practical ways to protect your peace, like saying no with confidence, creating a sanctuary at home, managing your time, taming technology, setting boundaries with loved ones, and embracing a routine that feels like yours. These steps are all about building a life where you're in charge of your calm. But sometimes, no matter how much we plan, stress or unexpected interruptions can still creep in. That's why the last 2 strategies we'll cover today are about staying centered, no matter what comes your way, and wrapping it all up with a mindset that keeps your peace first. Let's dive in. The 7th way to protect your peace is practicing a simple mindfulness habit. Now, I know the word mindfulness might sound like something trendy or complicated, but it's really just about being present in the moment and letting go of what's out of your control. Stress often comes from worrying about what might happen or replaying something that already did. A mindfulness habit helps you stay grounded right here, right now. You don't need to meditate for hours or sit cross-legged on a cushion, unless that's your thing, of course. It can be as simple as taking a few deep breaths or noticing the world around you. Here's an easy way to start. Try this little trick called the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding exercise. When you're feeling overwhelmed, maybe a family member is venting about their problems, or you're stuck in a long line at the store, pause and notice 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. It sounds simple, but it pulls you back to the present. My friend Dorothy, who's 69, uses this when she feels frazzled by her grandkids' endless energy. She'll step outside, take a deep breath, and notice the trees, the feel of her sweater, the sound of birds, the smell of grass, and maybe the lingering taste of her morning tea. It takes just a minute, and she says it's like hitting a reset button. You can do this anywhere, sitting in your favorite chair, waiting at the doctor's office, or even in the middle of a noisy family dinner. Try it once a day, and you'll notice how it helps you stay calm, even when the world feels chaotic. Now let's talk about the eighth and final way to protect your peace, choosing who and what deserves your energy. As we age, we realize not every situation or person needs our attention. Some things just aren't worth getting worked up over. A neighbor's gossip, a minor disagreement, or even those little annoyances like a late delivery. Protecting your peace means deciding what's worth your time and letting the rest go. This doesn't mean ignoring people or problems. It's about being selective and focusing on what truly matters to you: your health, your joy, your relationships that lift you up. Here's how you can put this into practice. When something or someone starts to pull at your peace, ask yourself, is this worth my energy? If it's not, give yourself permission to step back. For example, my friend Harold, who's 71, used to get roped into long debates with his brother-in-law about politics, and it always left him drained. One day, he decided to change the script. When the topic came up, he smiled and said, "You know, I'm going to sit this one out. Let's talk about that fishing trip you took instead." It wasn't rude, just a gentle redirect, and it saved him from hours of frustration. You can do this too, whether it's steering a conversation to something positive or choosing not to engage with a situation that doesn't serve you. Focus on the people and moments that bring you happiness, like a good laugh with a friend or a quiet evening with a book. As we wrap up, I want to remind you that protecting your peace is about small, intentional choices that add up to a big difference. You've learned how to say no without guilt. Create a sanctuary in your home. Manage your time like it's gold. Tame technology. Set boundaries with loved ones. Embrace a routine. Practice mindfulness, and choose what deserves your energy. These aren't huge, overwhelming changes. They're simple steps you can weave into your life, one at a time. Maybe you start by turning off those phone notifications or trying that 5-4-3-2-1 exercise when you're feeling stressed. The point is, you have the power to shape your days so they feel calm, joyful, and yours. You've spent so much of your life giving to others, and now it's time to give to yourself. Your peace is worth protecting, and every small step you take is a victory. I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you're going to try to protect your peace this week? Drop it in the comments below, and let's keep this conversation going. If you found this helpful, please give the video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more tips on living your best life at any age. Here's to creating a life filled with calm, joy, and moments that make your heart sing. I'll see you in the next one.